Teen violence, it's a problem that not only shatters many lives, but has also turned some schools into battlegrounds. All this week, News 4 is presenting team reports on the problem of teen violence. Tonight, education reporter Deborah Silberstein takes us inside a school known to some as Last Chance High. Deborah?
Carmen, its real name is the Roberto Clemente Student Development Center. It was established by the Ann Arbor school system 14 years ago to do two things: remove potentially violent teenagers from the mainstream and to turn the problem teens around. Clemente has been successful on both counts. It's 6:30 in the morning, and Principal Joe Dulin is making breakfast for his 30 teenagers.
Morning, Joe.
That's my brother.
These are the students other schools don't want. Left alone, they could wind up out of work, in jail, or even dead. The staff here at Roberto Clemente has less than 1 year to reach them and change them. Carrie skipped school for weeks at a time.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to school.
Ted was a frequent drug user.
I couldn't stop myself from getting into trouble.
13-year-old Latoya was thrown out of junior high for striking a teacher.
Why? Because she deserved it.
The surprising thing about this alternative school is the total lack of security. There are no police officers, no security guards, no metal detectors. There's a more relaxed atmosphere here than in most regular high schools.
In terms of his responsibility. You can't let these things with other friends get you in trouble.
At the core of the program is Clemente's weekly rap session, where students learn how to fight with words instead of violence.
Okay, you tell. Okay, fine. Now you tell your story.
I picked it up.
No, you said I
Okay, he didn't say. Hey,
you better get your story straight.
you.
Playing, man, 'cause I'll bust.
Hey, you. He took it back that you didn't. Now go on and tell the story. All of you can get something out of this.
Carl, a lot of the cartoons and comic books take some of these myths.
In the classroom, Clemente combines English, math, and science with a sense of family. Students call teachers by their first names. And while many high schools have more than 30 students to a class, Clemente has no more than 6. Even with this one-on-one attention, change doesn't come easily. Troy Olin's temper has been getting him into trouble since grammar school. His mother sees Clemente as the end of the line.
Yes, I do. I think this is his last chance, and if he doesn't make it here, then that's the end of school for him.
The Detroit school system is in the midst of setting up its own Last Chance High, and sources say it will be modeled in part after Roberto Clemente. Detroit school officials have visited Clemente several times in the past few months to see how it's doing.
You have to wonder if there have been any violent incidents in Roberto Clemente.
Only one, Carmen, and a girl pulled a knife and threatened several students, but that was 12 years ago. That's a pretty impressive record for a school that is filled with kids who have serious problems. And tomorrow on the Night Beat, we'll introduce you to the driving force behind Last Chance High, a man the students call Daddy Dulin.
Okay. You have to admire the teachers who accept that kind of a challenge. Thanks, Deborah.
Of teen violence can be found anywhere, on city streets, and even in our neighborhood schools. All week long, News 4 is presenting special team reports on teen violence. And tonight, education reporter Deborah Silberstein introduces us to a man in the Ann Arbor school system who is turning many troubled kids around. Deborah?
Carmen, at a time when teen violence is shattering lives and spreading despair, Roberto Clemente is giving problem students a last chance. The driving force behind the school is Principal Joe Dulin, a miracle worker of sorts who specializes in mixed-up kids.
Shut up, Ed.
It's a tough crowd, but Joe Dulin is a tough-talking principal.
Now the main thing is you've got to quit using self-defeating behavior.
He runs the weekly rap session with an iron hand, a doting father 1 minute, a strict disciplinarian the next.
Simply, no, you say something after I'm finished. See, because you don't want to let your mouth overload.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Okay, then watch what you're doing.
Joe Dulin, or Daddy Dulin as he's sometimes called, is known for his rather unorthodox style of teaching. In the weeks I've been at Clemente, I've seen him slap one student across the top of his head to get his attention, comfort another who was crying, and he even makes house calls to visit with parents. In many ways, the Roberto Clemente School is Joe Dulin.
I tell them what the rules and regulations are, what the structure is here. It's my way or the highway. Then this is the last place until the joint.
Tell me why you're asking.
To his students, Dulin is part police officer, part parent.
Joe like a father to me because, see, my father, I don't have a father. He don't live with us no more. And I just, Joe just telling me what to do.
He helps every one of us out in any way he can. He gives all his time to us.
Joe Dulin gained recognition back in the turbulent 60s when he took over Detroit's St. Martin de Porres and molded it into one of the safest and most successful inner-city schools in the nation. In his more than 20 years of working with teenagers, Dulin has spent very little time in his office. He sees problem kids as kids with problems.
We have lost this touch somehow to get along, that we want to take it into our own hands, and we need to work on some ways and reinforcements of conflict management and how to settle things.
She's taking a stand on behalf of you.
Joe also encourages parent participation, and he insists on ending each meeting this way.
Why don't you go over there and give her a hug and a kiss and show your appreciation?
Gets great results in the kids, and he loves them, and they know that, and that means a lot.
There seems to be a general misconception that problem teenagers come from bad homes. Some do, but the mothers and fathers I met at Clemente were absolutely devoted to helping their children, and parents working with the school are a very powerful combination. Tomorrow, Morton Carmen, you'll hear about Clemente's success rate and meet a graduate who says Clemente has changed her life.
Isn't that wonderful? He's been supporting kids for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody just mentioned he loves the kids, and that's got to be the key. He really cares.
It is. And they love him back, too.
Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you, Tim.
Bernie.
For 14 years, the school in Ypsilanti has been helping troubled teens get back on the right track. It is one of the most successful alternative schools in the country. All this week, News 4 is presenting team reports on teen violence. And tonight, education reporter Deborah Silverstein joins us now to tell us about some of the school's success stories. Deborah?
Carmen, if we want to stop teen violence from shattering lives, experts say we need a three-prong approach: home, community, and school. At Roberto Clemente School in Ypsilanti, it's designed to help all kinds of problem teens, from gun toters to truants. Students quickly find out they can't get away with much at Last Chance High.
What they come for. Okay.
At most schools, students who don't show up in the morning are simply marked absent. At Roberto Clemente, parents are called.
I haven't seen him. You don't know that he's not here.
And a car is dispatched to the student's home. Christina Montague, the school's community liaison, is known to take drastic measures to get kids to school.
Going in the rooms, actually, pulling the covers up, telling you, get out that bed right this minute, get your clothes on, and I'm going to stand here till you get them on.
You multiply that?
Multiply those 2 terms there.
Clemente is intended to be a teenage repair shop to fix broken kids and then send them back to their regular high schools. Some will re-enter the mainstream after 7 to 8 months, but others will stay.
Go back and put a capital letter here.
This intensive program, strong on academics, discipline, and concern, has made Clemente one of the most successful alternative high schools in the nation. Officials boast a graduation rate of more than 90%.
Has the attorney been notified?
So we're all set.
Clemente graduate Kathy McAllister is now a social worker at the Washtenaw County Juvenile Court, where she worked with troubled teens. But when she was 16, Kathy stood before a judge in this very building as a runaway with a drug problem going nowhere.
I think the most important thing that it did was to help me know that I could do something, to build my confidence. There were people there saying, hey, you're all right. You can make it. You don't have to be a drug addict, street bum.
And many of the teenagers who go to Clemente now are for the first time starting to think about the future.
Yeah, I have to stop fighting if I want to do something out of my life.
If I make it through college, I want to be a child psychologist.
I just want to get through high school, go to college, and hopefully go into robotics. That's my dream anyways. I don't know if I'll do it.
We hope you do it, Troy. Since this series started 3 days ago, we've received dozens of phone calls from parents of out-of-control teenagers who are desperately looking for ways to save their children. With this atmosphere of frustration and fear, it's a shame that every school district doesn't have a Last Chance High.
What would you attribute the key to the success of this program? Would it be the concept management?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conflict management concept is very important to this program. It's so basic, but kids are killing kids over the most meaningless fights, a jacket or a dirty look, and that's why we need to emphasize these people skills to teenagers, how to talk things out, how to keep disputes from escalating into murders, and Clemente has been very successful in getting that message across. Good. Tomorrow on the Night Beat, our series on teen violence continues. Steve Gray will profile some people who are trying to take back the streets.
It'd be nice to have a Roberto Clemente in every city.
And that business of building their self-esteem, making these kids feel good about themselves, seems to be so important. Thanks, Deborah.
Seems to be working.
All right.
Good report. Bernie says he has some unbelievable highlights from basketball's Michael Jordan. That's coming up next in sports.
Later on the Night Beat, a definite sign of winter for Southeast Michigan.